Hey guys, Steve Tuick here. Question, which is greater, the impact your emotional state has on your success, or does your success have a bigger impact on your emotional state? In other words, why do we experience emotions? Why do we experience this human condition of happy, angry, scared, right? Why do we experience emotions? And when I look at it, we really go in and research it. Research shows, if you look at the Book of Rites, which is a first century Chinese encyclopedia, it identified 7 feelings of men, and they were joy, anger, sadness, fear, love, and then liking or disliking, right? In 1872, Charles Darwin theorized that emotions were nothing more than an evolved trait that were built to help us survive. Hey, Richard. So, why do we experience emotions? Is it a survival trait? And when we look at negative emotions, it's easy to see. I mean, when we were sitting by the fire because we just found ourselves the nice dodo egg or whatever, right? And a saber-toothed tiger jumped in, we had to have that fight or flight response to allow us the ability to jump out of the way to do what we need to do. So emotions needed to really override anything else that we had going on in the moment from a negative standpoint. But, and Paul Ekman, who, he's one of the top 100 cited psychologists of our time, he actually, there was a TV show called Lie to Me that was based upon him back 2009, I think, where they studied you could tell by facial recognition whether somebody was lying or not. And he did research, he went across the planet and he did research on facial recognition in regards to emotions, like what emotions can we acknowledge via just looking at the face, angry, happy, and so what he found out was there were six emotions that he was able to spot that went across all cultures, all nations. They were anger, disgust, fear, happiness, of course, and sadness, and then surprise. And if you look at that list, the interesting thing is there was only one positive emotion that we as humans experience across the globe. So what does that teach us? Well, it adds to a very large cache of research known as, that leads to the theory called the negative bias theory. And what the negative bias theory states is that we are hardwired in our experience to experience the negative first and to experience it in a much more heightened state than when we experience a positive emotion. The theory is that it's like a 5-to-1 multiple. You've almost got to work 5 times as hard to experience a positive emotion, a positive experience, than you do to actually notice or experience a negative one. Because we go back to the saber-toothed tiger. If you're feeling content and all of a sudden the saber-toothed tiger jumps in, you need to have something override that. Your emotional state, hey Susan, had to override that fear, had to override the joy and the contentment that you felt when you were eating that dodo egg. Because if you didn't, you'd sit there and continue to eat, and the saber-toothed tiger would begin to eat. Right? You couldn't just sit around. So those negative traits become the primary emotional experience that we as humans go through. Well, here in our world, there's not a saber-toothed tiger going to eat you. Like there's not a T-Rex chasing you around. And so in today's world, in our current society, those negative emotions are tied to stories that we create about our reality because we're still looking for those dangerous situations. We're still hardwired to find danger in our world, to find things that could trip us up, that could kill us. And so we're naturally trained to focus on those specific areas. Well, why do we experience positive emotions then? If negative emotions were such a strong survival tool, then why do we experience positive emotions at all? Well, there's a new theory. There's some stuff coming out. Eason, I think her name was Eason Fredrickson, developed a theory called the broaden and build theory. And what the broaden and build theory states is that positive emotions expand our capacity to think in longer strategic type situations. In other words, what she did was she showed a bunch of research participants a short video clip to induce either a positive or negative emotion. And then she would elicit questions. And what she found out was that participants that had a positive emotional experiences were able to come up with more options or ideas on things to do in varied situations. In other words, it expanded their decision-making capabilities. So the theory is that one function of positive emotion is to widen the selection of possible thoughts and actions that spontaneously come up in our day-to-day. Well, how is that valuable? Well, if you think about it, a negative emotion, it really does, it really focuses our attention onto the danger at hand. Focus on this. This has to be solved. Whereas what a positive emotion does, it expands our awareness to take in more variables, or what we refer to in business mastery as terrain. We're able to see more because we're focused in a positive way and not that negative way. So if you think about it, negative emotions are about really focusing you down into the minute, whereas positive emotions are meant to expand your awareness and see more possibilities. Well, in today's world, that's what we need. We need more strategic thought. We need more people focused on and seeing variables that other people don't see, so that we can start to make more strategic decisions. So if you're in a dangerous situation, great, negative emotions are a positive thing when you think of running from a saber-toothed tiger. But ask yourself, in today's world, actually look at the stuff that you experience negative emotion for now, and ask yourself, is this really a saber-toothed tiger? Did, my kid not putting his or her shoes on, getting ready for school, and me feeling this negative charge around that, was that really a saber-toothed tiger? Did I need to focus negative energy in that direction? And what was the impact? Maybe it's work, maybe it's family, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's your finances. Like, really look at the situation where you're experiencing negative emotion now, and hey, Travis, and ask yourself, am I really experiencing a saber-toothed tiger here? Because if you're not, you have to ask yourself, are you coming up with the most strategic and effective tools or insights in regards to that situation? If you're not, you need to ask yourself, what if I focused on the positive and I stretched my emotional awareness out so that I could see more of the terrain I'm operating in, and therefore come up with more options, more variables, more ideas on the things that are important to me? Don't allow yourself to believe that emotions are just a natural response to your surroundings. In other words, most people believe that they are a victim to their emotions. Most people don't feel happy unless they've got certain rules that have been set in front of them, certain things that have been accomplished. I'm not going to be happy unless I have a good dinner. I'm not going to be happy unless I make this sale. I'm going to be happy unless this person does this for me. And what that does is that hands your power, your ability to feel the emotion you really want to feel, to experience the world in the way you really want to experience it. What it does is it hands that power off to either something or somebody else, which then leaves you powerless then to solve the equation. So again, I go back to the question, which is greater, the impact on your emotional state has on your success, or does your success have a bigger impact on your emotional state? Because if your emotional state is only a benefactor or a product of success, then the only reason you're ever going to be happy is if you're successful. The challenge is, research shows that you're not going to be successful if you continue to only focus on the negative. So in today's world, when you find yourself in that negative state, when you find yourself suffering from negative emotions, negative impacts, negative whatevers, ask yourself, what is something positive that I can choose to focus on instead of whatever I'm focusing on? Really dissect your thought process and go, okay, what am I processing here, and how am I processing? How am I talking to myself? How am I talking to those around me? And then ask yourself, is that the way you want to show up in the world? Because I would be willing to bet if you're showing up with negative emotions, anger, sadness, fear, I would be willing to bet that's not how you want to show up. And then ask yourself, how do you really want to show up? And then what can you focus on today that will allow you the ability to show up in that way? If you're enjoying it, hit the likes, love the loves. Do me a favor, share this on your page. Let's start a conversation. I would love to hear what are some of the strategies and tools that allow you the ability to stay positive. Hope you're liking the new video. Hoping it's doing well for you. And again, live with passion, live with love.